As a former addict, I realize now, after being sober for 6 years, how smoking weed literally hijacked my brain. And chances are that your brain is also being hijacked right now as we are speaking. If you're someone who smokes, that is, right? Or maybe using other substances. But I'm talking mainly about weed. See, here's the thing. I remember back in the day when I used to be addicted to weed, that literally, like, the only purpose I had back then was just to find the first possible free moment in my life, whether it's waking up, in lunchtime at school, or after work. Literally, the first moment I had to roll a joint and just smoke that joint. Literally, that was like the whole the sole purpose that was like driving me to live. Find a free moment and smoke the joint. And see, it's crazy to think about it. How is that even possible to come at a certain point where that's the only thing that matters to you? Thinking of it now, I realize it literally hijacked me. So in this video, I'll be discussing how that actually works, how it also probably is hijacking your brain. And maybe like you don't admit maybe you're like not in the same point I used to be where you want it 24/7, right? But it builds up. I didn't start out like that. It came a little by little by little. And so maybe you're well on your way, also on the same road. And I want to prevent that. So here, how's that happening? See, when you smoke weed, a certain part of your brain gets deactivated. I'm talking about the amygdala. It should be right over here somewhere. Somewhere. It's like a small part. Basically, that's where your emotions get processed. And not only processed, but that part is like telling you like what is important to you and what isn't, right? So if you have emotions, feelings, that's what it all happens. That's where the show is running, right over here in your prefrontal cortex. Anyways, basically, what it comes down to, your amygdala is responsible for your feelings, right? That's where it all happens. And when you smoke weed, when you intake THC through a joint, a bong, whatever you're doing, right? What happens is that activity inside of the amygdala gets reduced. There is less emotions happening inside of you. The pro here, or yeah, the positive here is that you feel relaxed, but in the long term, you rob literally yourself from having purpose, having drive, wanting to do something with your life. And see why those are important, purpose and drive. It's because those are the things that sustain us in the long term. Because if you focus like, just on short term gratification, which I'll hit on after, but stay with me here for a second. Like if you only get like things that gratify you in the short term, you're not fulfilled. Like fulfillment is the thing that really sustains you in the long term, and it's what's going to basically like serve you the best. Yes. So that's problem one. The other one is that it also gives you artificial dopamine, meaning it gives you like the feel good chemical that your body has been designed to give you to reward you when you do something positive, but you now get it artificially, meaning you didn't do effort, you didn't do nothing. And why effort is important to get dopamine is because that's literally like the system of our body to tell us whether we're doing something well or not. Back in the day when we used to be cavemen and cave girls, um, dopamine served as an indicator to tell us whether we're doing something well or not. It served as a compass. Oh, you're doing a great job. You're eating. And so your brain lets you know that, in a very obvious way. And so what happens when you do it artificially? You basically like start to ruin your basic reward system, like the system that tells you what's good and what's wrong. You really literally like start to hijack it because suddenly you didn't do something productive, you didn't do something that actually brings you further, and you start getting rewarded. Now, if you pair those two together, that's where the magic happens. You lose all motivation, you lose purpose, you lose anything. Because think about it, you keep gratifying yourself for something, like you keep pumping your body and give it signals to like, you tell it like, oh, give me feel good chemicals, let me feel good, but don't do something. And so the moment you have to do something important in your life, then it all disappeared. Then there is no desire anymore to do anything. Zero desire will you have, and zero energy will you have to do something meaningful in life. Because that's the thing, again, that's why like you have like coming back on why meaningful things are important. Those are the things that will sustain you in the long run, right? And if you don't even have, if you rob yourself from the desire to really be able to do something meaningful, then how are you going to sustain yourself? And I know what's maybe going in some people's head. Maybe you're telling yourself, but okay, so what? I'm at home. What else do I have to do? You know? But I mean, it literally, you know, like kills you in the long run. Smoking weed is not something that sustains you. And I feel even dumb for like pointing this out, but I don't know. I remember I used to be in denial. I didn't want to accept this. For some reason, like, you know, like separate from the fact that I created like this coping mechanism, I was like fooling myself. I was also denying it. I didn't want to like give up this feel good, you know? It didn't took any effort. Literally, like my life, it felt easy. Super easy. It was hard for me to give that up, right? And that's how, in a nutshell, smoking weed literally hijacks you. And it goes even deeper, you know? Because what happens is then your thoughts also get impacted. You know, like, let's say you never heard someone tell you that, and all you know is like, okay, but I feel good, and what's the problem? And um, at my work, it was hard today, and I don't know, people are annoying you, and things are not going so well, and so now this guy here is telling me like to even stop that. The only thing that makes me feel good, he's telling me to quit that. Fuck that, right? Smoking weed literally hijacks you. One more example I'll give you. See, I remember when I was like smoking weed every day, you know, it started off with once. Never am I gonna try it again, I told myself, because my parents really like warned me, like, hey, don't smoke weed, it's bad for you, right? And so I was listening, but then the opportunity came. I smoked once, okay. Then the next month I tried it one more time. Then in 2 weeks I tried it once. That quickly turned into every Friday, then every day. And suddenly it became to a point where I was like 24/7 high. Literally. At school, every lunchtime I was going like for a smoke. And I couldn't get even my food before I smoked. I had to smoke to get my food. While driving, see, never have I ever thought that I would come to a certain point where I just start driving while being baked. And even worse, not only that, but also like starting to like drive with friends while being baked. And the crazy part about it is I was like rationalizing it in the most obnoxious ways ever. Like, okay, but I already drive like for a year or two, or I'm someone who's like very cautious, you know, like how irresponsible is that to drive while being high with friends in the car? That also came to a certain point where I like started like neglecting like basic traffic rules, like ignoring red lights, you know, like traffic lights, ignoring them, speed limits. It happened in a very small, subtle way, you know, like just once. Oh, then you do it like a second time, you realize like it's not that bad, and all because of the fact that one, you know, my dopamine system was like ruined, and so I wanted more and more. But even worse, my emotions got numb, right? The activity in my amygdala got like reduced, and so as a result of that, I was losing my aliveness. You know, I was becoming this living dead man. That's the best way how I can describe it. Living, but dead in the inside. And that's how, again, smoking weed hijacks your brain. Anyways, that's the video. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, do all the good things. If you enjoyed this type of video, check out this video. Or this. Check out this video.